on the Diocese of Bohol. Since my thesis proposal is about Iskayan tribe, I will greet you in Iskayan dialect. Riado takang rebellion si quiz. So in English, good noon, tone. So I'm here in front of you to present my thesis proposal entitled Taking a Closer Look on Iskaya Tribe and the Establishment of the Iglesia Filipina Independiente in Bohol, Developing a Historical Milestone. So my background of the study, Iskaya is an indigenous tribe found in the hinterlands of the towns of Toiro, Gindulman, Pilar, and Sierra Bulunes, Bohol, Southeast Interior. The settlement of this tribe is at Yabas, Gindulman, established in the early 28th century by Mariano Datahan. A second settlement was established at Taytay under the municipality of Toiro in the year 1951, founded by Fabian Baha under the Tahan's instructions. Eventually, the group spread to nearby Katao, Lundag, Tambungan, Kadapdapan, and Fatima. The group can speak Visayan dialect, Iskaya tribe language, and sa kanang kada daily life namo ang among gigamit is Cebuano dialect. They have their own letter that quote from the forms of the body of man. The Iskaya tribe all converted to the Philippine Independent Church under the direction of Mariano Datahan in 1902. So, based niya sa history nga nasa libro sa Iskaya sa among tribunal nga ang nakabutang dito during sa pag-mission ni Don Mariano Anoy Datahan nga ilang simbahan sa Iskaya tribe is ang nakabutang dito Pilipinista. Pero ang akong gibutang diri, akong gikuha diha sa internet, ang nakabutang dito Philippine Independent Church. So they revert a supreme being which they call by the name Suno, and attended weekly church services. The religious community was headed by a bishop whom they call Biki, or Biki, bishop. Bishop na siya, muna siya bishop sa mga Biriki is a priest. These spiritual leaders also perform rituals for good harvest, house blessings, weddings, and the like aside from the weekly services. But, however, there are community of Iskaya like Lundag, Tambungan, Kadapdapan, Bayong, and Fatima are not Philippine Independent Church. So kagina sa kung gipailan ni Mariano Anoy nga simbahan is IFI. So kung in short, kung Iskaya ka, so IFI ka. Pero why is it nga nag-exist man nga mga lugar nga dili sila Iskaya? So mao ni akong study nga ngano nga naa ni sila. So the researcher, being a third-year seminarian, sees the need to develop a historical milestone of the Iskaya tribe and the establishment of the Filipino Catholic Church in Bohol. It is to this premise that this study will be conducted. Next is the statement of the problem. This study aims to trace the historical background of the Iskaya tribe and the establishment of the Iglesia Filipina Independiente. Specifically, this study aims to first determine the culture, beliefs, values, and tradition of the Iskaya tribe before the establishment of the Iglesia Filipina Independiente. Second, plan the establishment of the Filipino Church and the Iskaya tribe in Bohol. Third, develop a historical milestone in the establishment of the Iskaya tribe and the Iglesia Filipina Independiente. So next in my conceptual framework, sa C, the culture, values, and traditions of Iskaya tribe. Then sa judge, the link between Iskaya tribe and the I-5. Then sa A, historical timeline of the I-5 from Iskaya tribe. Next is the significance of the study. This historical research will develop historical timeline on the establishment of the Iglesia Filipina Independiente from Iskaya tribe in Bohol. It is very important to know their practices and cultures and how understand these practices impact on the lives of other people, especially the Christian living within the same area. Specifically, this study will be beneficial to the following. First is the Thesis of Bohol, then the province of Bohol, then the Iskaya tribe. In the Thesis of Bohol, this study will benefit the diocese by having a published historical timeline of the establishment of the Iglesia Filipina Independiente from the Iskaya tribe. Then, sa the province of Bohol, this study would be beneficial to the province in terms of history and tourism. Then, in the Iskaya tribe, this study will benefit this tribe to trace their link why they have been converted to the Iglesia Filipina Independiente. Next is my methodology. The researcher used qualitative historical study. It will undergo survey and interview of every chieftain or Iskaya leader in every community of the Iskaya tribe in different barangays of Bohol to gather the information data. The researcher will use also the internet to have more ideas about the same topic. Then the researcher will use the active word like see, judge, and act method. The first method is seeing. To see is the act of looking and justifying. First and foremost, the researcher will see the culture, values, and tradition of Iskaya tribe. Specifically, the researcher will also present the result of relationship of Iskaya tribe and the establishment of Iglesia Filipina Independiente. After seeing the result, the researcher will judge. Then the second method is judging. To judge is the act of looking and choosing for the good opinion in line with the same topic, and it is the time for the researcher to make a decision. The researcher will judge the link between Iskaya tribe and the Iglesia Filipina Independiente. The researcher will determine the understanding of the relationship of Iskaya tribe and Iglesia Filipina Independiente. Then, to complete the idea the researcher saw, judge and act out the historical understanding of Iskaya tribe and Iglesia Filipina Independiente and put them in action. Then, the researcher will use the last method, which is act, means to make some response of putting the words in action. The gathered data and understanding of the history of the Iskaya tribe from Iglesia Filipina Independiente will put it into action. That would be all, Lamis Sabian.
Nice. Okay, thank you so much, brother. We go now to comments and how we can help Brother Rosita, Father will do this stuff. Okay, yes, fast.
Okay, since this is ethnographic data that you need to gather because this is the ethnography. How many, in your own, how many times or months did you spend in this tribe that you can learn this culture, tradition,
It's one.
and because that's the very evidence that you can make your paper really good if you have done these things in that area. I know that you're from Bohol, but might be this is far from your living. So that's my question.
Okay, thank you, Rim. Actually, Rim, I am one of them. I am the member of Iskaya tribe.
Okay, since you are one of the Iskaya tribe, I've been to Iskaya, I've been to Sierra-Leones, and I love your culture there. Yeah, the town of Duero, right? Yeah, Bohol. Actually, in doing ethnographic research, we discourage people who is the same with the subject that you are studying, because in order to avoid biases, that is because the ethicality of the paper. Traditionally, ethnographic researchers were encouraged to study groups of people in distant communities, or at least groups of people who are very different from the researcher. If we're going to be strict, we cannot allow that. Because the purpose of this is you immerse yourself first to the group of people you're studying. But let us just leave this to be fluid. In order to help you in your ethnographic research, in your methodology, the researcher used qualitative ethnographic study. So this is, we know this is historical, but the proper term here is ethnographic. This is part of a qualitative research. Ethnography is a field study. You study the culture of the primitive people, the Iskayas. And the very thing here that you should emphasize in your methodology is an in-depth interview with the people in Iskaya and an archival research. You should do this too. In-depth interview of which, with your advisor, you are going to prepare a guide questions. Maybe you gather the tribes there or the leaders there through a FGD, focus group discussion with them, in-depth interview, and archival research. I hope that you have the archives in Iskaya, and maybe you go to, I don't know if there's an available thing in the internet. Sa Bohol mismo, tourism.
Na-document na rin na
Yeah.
sa languages kaya, pero naman yapon sa internet na
Okay.
makuha yung source. O, tribunal.
Even in the museum. Very important na.
Ako nakakabutang sa tribunal ng ang tribal house ng
Yeah. Okay. So, importante na. So, let me give you the 8 steps in doing ethnographic research. According here, sige. Ihatag ko na rin sa iyo. Kuhaan mo na sa ako. Nilimahin mo ko. Para this will guide you in what to do in your ethnographic research. Okay? 8 steps lang yan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kung dapat niya, Rector, may immerse dito sa balik sa Bohol. You should be assigned. I think, no, we hope that you will be assigned in Bohol this summer to immerse yourself there.
Reminder lang sa imo, research, although you're part of the tribe, kaya dapat hindi ka lang part sa tribe. And you need also include yung mga issues and concern of the tribe in terms of political, agenda of peace, may include mo gina siya kay ang imo nang dating mo nga more on spiritual in mo journey. But there are a lot of concern in that tribe. Kaya nga, in your paper, need to include that what they are wish for, no? Ano na nilang looking sa ilang tribe. That's part of it because might be that's included their spirituality. Diba? Ang mga political nila, economic struggle, or the land, or activities, no? So please include that, if not in your paper. I want to say that and then you differentiate this system. Okay.
Yes, other funds.
What is the core intent of the research? Ano yun ang pinaka-purpose ng paper?
Ang akong study ni Pansa, gusto na ko mahibawan ang part sa mga iba sa bagina sa akong presentation na ang paila ni Mariano nga simbahan during sa pag-mission niya sa Iskaya tribe is Filipinista. Amo na ang nakabutang sa libro sa Iskaya. So sa internet, ang nakabutang na Philippine Independent Church. So it means kung kanang Iskaya ka, you are IFI denomination. So why is it na may mga lugar na like Lunda, Tambungan na dili sila members sa 100% sila ng Iskaya tribe pero dili sila members sa IFI. So mo sa akong kuan ba
That's why you need to include to suggestion ko na kayo na historical. Nga-proud sila magbutang nila sa pila wall, historical wall. Nga religion, 100% Filipinista. Yeah, 100% IFI lang butang no. Hindi man PIC, di ba?
sa subong na mga kuan rektor sa kanang
Pero dito sa nabutang sa sa wall,
Taytay.
wala na sa Taytay, wala na picture, di ba? Religion, 100%
IFI.
IFI. Yung nakalagay sa wall. So, why? So, that you should also consider in your document. Ano why? Why nakalagay FI sila?
Okay.
Ano yung historical beginning? Kasi gusto mo maano link eh. So, what's the link between the tribe and
I guess what we said earlier is the gap. Ganong wala naman sila, ang ibang tribe, ganong wala hindi naman IFI. So you're just na wala mo the gap. Anong problem? Nga naman di naman sa IFI. Tapos the reason judge mo is the link between the tribe and the IFI. That's why I'm asking, ano ang pinaka-purpose? Only to have a historical sketch, the historical timeline sa IFI from Iskaya. Kung sa background mo, tuwari naman ang historical sketch. You have already given us the date. May mga research na obra. Ako yung gusto mo, ano kung gusto mo makita, ano ang ginaproblemahan natin today? When even documents sa museum, nagabutang na dito na may mga historical sketch ng ina.
Pero kay ang kanang uban nga barang community pag kay sukat ko na siya pag sa una pa nga dili sila lay patima nga bisan sitio man na siya sa Biyapas niya dili man na siya wala siya na ay sukat sa una
At the very beginning.
o may akong kuan sa ilang mga chieftain ko anong wala sila mabilong sa I5 na mo man di kuan na
Kung IFI sila po silingon, may pare dito.
No.
na sila ay pare-pare pag sila wala magkuhan nang ilaharap nga
undergo seminary training.
Oo.
But you are talking of the different iskaya, not of
is kaya gyapon sila kay so yung gyapon
but you
sila.
are talking not of the IFI iskaya.
Yes.
Diba? Kasi nahat mo ng iskaya into kahit ba mo mountains o Bohol, diba? Sa mountain of Spark, ara na yung mission sa IFI sa Draga Mountains. Diba? Wala din sa loonan masyado ang mission sa Bohol, diba? So not all Iskaya tribes are actually like that. But the very beginnings ng pag-declare sa Iskaya, nag-declare ng pinaka-shooting na IFI sila, diba?
Yes.
Pero how come na iba niya ng mga Iskaya,
Community.
yung mga community, wala sila yung nag-declare na IFI sila. So they maintain their own tradition of Wiki and
Yes, sir.
Deriki.
Yes.
Wiki and
Very.
Deriki. So ang siguro ang i-establish mo, how come niya na grupo IFI and the others are not?
Kung tulungan mo sa premise pa lang na ang mga understanding mo, wala sila mag-IFI. Una, bukod kay, they were not taught to be an IFI. Taught din siya itudloan niya mga IFI. Diba? They identify themselves as Iskaya and as a tribe because of language and culture and everything that is. Pero they don't consider their color as an Anglicans. Diba? So ang point is na identify naman ina what are we trying to develop here? Anong gusto natin i-unearth? The factors that led these tribes to be separated from the IFI. Okay, kasi on the other hand, sa bahin sa simbahan, although naghahambal sila yung 100% IFI sila yan, they claim to be, pero wala man niya sang effort. Was there an effort sa mainland to mulay man ang ilabi magpas indigenous okay, you should not impose your own that is para sa ila.
Siguro kung hindi ko dyan very clear, for example, nga embrace sang sining Iskaya tribe ang IFI, nga embrace IFI. So that becomes researchable.
Pero ang point is ang act is a historical timeline of the IFI from Iskaya tribe, muling act na rin. So that's why I'm asking, ano din ang gusto natin madampot? Kaya kung ang gusto natin madampot, ano ang gap niya, kung niya sila yan, ang hindi na wala nila yan, there is no sense of ownership or embracing na IFI sila, anong problema? Kumbaga, that's your problem. Anong problema nila nga wala magkabuna? Nga ang iba niya nag-prosper man as sa subong when the SCB was involved or SCB, they're so very happy to present themselves. Nga ay ang iba hindi. I guess doon dira ang gap nga makita natin. Which, short, ang gina-question ko lang, anong padulungan sa paper? Kaya kung historical timeline lang,
wala na, hearing.
May history ka na nakita mo.
Wala hearing.
Pwede mo may historical amal dali nga sa amo nga year, based sa ako niya research or interview dito sa ila, wala lagi sila yung kilala nga wala lagi kita sila yung IFI. Amo na period.
Wala sing weight.
Ang weight ang napakita ko ba?
Parang hindi na istorya. Pero kung that's why if you include the friction there, why you become IFI, ano ang mga natabo? Kung muna siya yung may weight siguro, sa ilang kasaysayan, i-retain mo ang historical. Bakit nag-IFI sila? Anong question? Anong mga friction dyan natabo? That's why we include that nila. Political, economic, or might be culture, or might be pressure. nandito sila ha. Na mo na dapat ang may battery na may weight at because na
What led them to separate from IFI or not to embrace IFI? Pwede na iguro yung ang munang researchable, pwede ka ito kayo interview sa ila. So some would say, di kayo, di pa bayaan ng kanini. Or some would say, hindi ko kami IFI, sila ito yung kagapati dito, sila yung katoto ang chief sa ila. Kami na naman kami nag-try, doon mga mula-mula. So,
Hindi ba siya milestone of faith or
pwede ba
developing historical landmarks of faith? Rather than kung mag-faith ang iya na
focus.
Hindi na faith focus is at the meaningful of why becoming an IFI. Finding out na nag-IFI niya sa name. Kasi di ba may mga stories?
Story na sila,
Na
na-connect nila,
so I just want to be clear, bro, ang kantuan, ma-interview ka din bro, sa mga
Sa
iskay.
mga chieftain.
Even sa mga members.
Sa mga members,
Pero makadto ka man sa lugar ng iskaya na hindi na IFI.
correct.
Pero parang
Katuan yung mga ako.
Kung sino mo ng judge mo din, links and gaps, siguro director, no? Ang judge mo, links and gaps between
ng pag siguro hindi lang yung timeline.
hindi lang timeline na ay 1, 2,
Hindi sa title, yung milestone. Milestone. Hindi yung timeline.
Hindi lang timeline.
Milestone of faith.
Because historical research or history is more than merely a series of easily memorized dates and facts. In trying to incorporate historical perspectives in one research, you need to ask what it means to live in a particular time or period. We need to identify what assumptions we can make about how people live, what are the meanings of things in particular times and places, and how the past imagines itself to the present. So the quality of living should be the milestones of faith. Ang meaning-making nila.
Hindi ka lang mag-timeline. Go
Oo.
back.
Kapaw na yung timeline.
Hindi, like, bro, how many ngay title? Ako sa title ng milestone. Di ba? So dapat isdan mo lang imo historical milestone of faith.
may pagka-theological paper
Historical milestone of faith.
understanding their God.
Album na hindi mo na nga title, add ka na lang sa faith sa punta. Wow.
Developing the historical at theological paper kundi kaya nag-refer ka sa ilang understanding about God, the faith, spirituality in relation to
historical data ka lang namin.
sa iya pwede na rin ito historical data niya dito sa
Developing a historical milestone of faith. Hindi ka lang niya date and events. Hindi when we talk historical paano na siya sa sagto, sa nilang, sa subong, in the future.
Mo na yung mo what it means to live in a particular time or period.
Okay.
Identify what assumptions we can make about how people live. What are the meanings of things in particular times and places. And how the past imagine to the present.
Okay.
So mauna ang mga pangutana siguro i-develop mo if you're going to do an FGD o mag-archival research ka, mauna pagitaon mo to give meat to your paper.
Abol mo si Bishop katagaan din ka time. Hindi ka pwede madali.
Hindi madali yun.
One thing siguro na makita mo man sa interview mo is will there be a glimpse or a spark na may will ganun sila nga mag-IFI man din or hindi that may mga factors nga lead to resistance na may mga political or magkakagulo ina siya sa inyong mga interview. Okay. So ano na tong last niya part sa yung
Hindi lang timeline, milestone play.
milestone?
Hindi historical timeline, hindi sa iapang dapat talaga yan.
So that it will have a historical sense.
Ang theological sense. Sa kabuhay sa Iskaya. May pare ka na Iskaya. Father Angelito.
Oo, pag nasubuan siya,
May kasunod ngayon, pare,
sa
Iskaya.
siya, na may Iskaya, nagseparate na sila sa Iskaya. Asa IFI. Kaya ang chieftain, chieftain,
Ano yung research mo?
nagtakbo siya kung mismo siya.
Sige ang kaso ang
Ano
magkaroon.
na interpretation of dreams?
May bigay siya mo,
Bigay siya mo.
Namin siyang research basta master.
Okay, so any move on to approve? Let's go, see.
I move.
Okay, second. It was moved and seconded that the thesis proposal of Brother Orwell receive
Sige pa taway pamaglan.
Isang yan.
may isa pa kasi doon.
Isa pa. Ay pamanda.
Kia.
Meron na dosi, kaon mga mukhang borchir. Sana, next. Mana? Ano yung pinamululutin?